All right, all right, all right. Welcome in H-Town. You are now tuned in to The Solid Grip, coming to you live at 5, no time for jive. I'm your host, J.R. Wilson, alongside me, my co-host, Ping Wilson, and we have two special guests today. My boy, my partner, coach, Mr. P.J. Strong, and also my wonderful sister-in-law, Samantha Drake, excuse me. And we are here to confabulate on all things sports. And we have some wonderful and interesting things to talk about today. And you need to open up your ear and allow us to soothe your ear. So relax your ear, because look, I'm telling you right now, today what we got to speak about, talk about hot topics. I'm telling you, it's sizzling. So first off, man, Pop, how you doing over there?
Doing great, man.
That's good. P, how you doing, baby?
Man, I'm doing good. I'm blessed. I'm excited to be on the show. Thank y'all for having me.
Hey, man, thank you for coming on here. Sammy, how you doing over there?
I'm good. I'm ready.
That's good. Thank you so much, Sammy, for coming on here with us. Okay. And so, look, we ain't going to play no games. We're going to get right off into this thing. Okay. So there's something huge that has, been a dark cloud over the NFL for the last couple of days. Okay. And there is, obviously, everybody knows that protesting has been going on all over the world. I mean, a global protest. Now, me personally, I think the protests were a little augmented just because for the last 3 or 4 months, the only thing that we've been able to focus on has been on TVs and the airways is this coronavirus. And what happened with George Floyd is, it was a heinous crime. It was murder. It was disgusting, unequivocally. Okay. But that, I believe, the protesters came in droves like that. One, yes, black people are tired. I don't want to minimize that. But I also think that, it was definitely augmented because now we have something different to focus on. And something that's very important. And I'm gonna say that too, that it's real, okay? Because one of the things, I was in Walmart today, and they actually every 30 minutes they were playing this little drop from somebody, some CEO or whatever, a white guy, and he was just saying, hey, Black America, that community, please listen up. We want to let you know that we are really we're in your corner, we on your side, we care for you. I mean, just it's getting crazy, okay? But we'll skedaddle into that in a little bit. But one of the things I want to talk about right off the tip is NFL admission. Okay, Roger Godell said with his lips, he said that we made a mistake about Colin Kaepernick. Now, I don't know to what extent he means that. Okay, people always say, hey, you don't apologize until you get caught. Well, that's true. People apologize when they get caught most of the times, right? So I don't necessarily know if I think this is sincere. What I do think it is it's a trend. And in order for PR to continue to move forward amicably with the fans, you have to do what they're doing right now, whether you like it or not. And Pop, man, I want someone to that we have not gotten on here yet before, a woman's perspective, especially an African-American woman or a black woman, on how you feel about this whole admission from Roger Godell in the NFL, Samantha.
I think it is an insincere public relations statement that was issued to him to read, to memorize, and it's only to pacify the players that have built the league. I think that he wouldn't have said it had Drew Brees not stuck his foot in his mouth, and now he's worried that the players on that team won't block for him.
Right.
I think it was fake. I think it was a farce. And it's insincere.
Yeah, no doubt. I can't say that I don't concur with that. P, what you got on it?
I got a lot of mixed emotions. First off, I feel as though I agree with Sam. It is definitely a trend. I don't believe it's sincere. I believe the NFL had a great opportunity to kind of, make some actions on it when it first arose. But again, they were outclassed and outdone by the NBA. Once again, once all that social justice issues started coming about, the NBA, they jumped on it right then and where. While the NFL was just looking around like, hey, man, let's try to just, keep quiet about this for a second. And then once everything happened with Kaepernick, they had no choice. So honestly, in my opinion, I don't believe it's sincere. I think it's just something like, like you said, hey, I'm apologizing because I got caught. Yeah. And it's a trend. And just to give you how I know it's a trend, somebody I know that had a They own a company and they're in charge of the social media. And the owner of the company told them, they said, hey, post the blackout, all that on there. And they told me about it. And I told them, well, if they're going to post it, do they really mean it? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're going to post it, mean it. And ask them. I was like, ask your boss, do they really mean it? Or is it just something that they're just trying to play into because it's trending at the moment? So I definitely feel that the NFL dropped the ball. They had a perfect opportunity to be on top of everything, but the NBA outclassed them once again, man.
Yes. And I want to speak on that, but Pop, what you got on this, man?
Well, hey, man, I got a totally different take. I'm a little older than everybody in the group and stuff. And the one thing I know about Roger Godell, and I told you this, Rich, before the draft, that he is a PR genius. That draft was going to go over big, and it went over big.
No doubt.
Okay. Now, let's say way back to 3 or 4 years ago when guys started first taking a knee. Okay, this was at the entrance of Donald Trump's presidency. Okay, but if you look at the trend now, man, people are falling off this guy, man. Okay, I'm not talking about Democrats. I'm talking about Republicans. I'm talking about rich Republicans. I'm talking about Colin Powell, one of the most powerful Republicans in the nation. Hey, so what I'm saying is the proof is going to be in the pudding. Now, Roger Godell has talked with some of those liberal, and listen, we're talking about 32 white owners, okay? He's probably gotten with a Rooney and some of the other liberal Republicans and said, listen, Roger, we don't need a mess. We're already in a mess. We got to forget about what Donald Trump is saying, and go on and produce this league that is a cash cow for us. So this is what I'm saying. All we got to do is wait about a year or two. And if we start seeing guys maybe move up, maybe like, hey, LeBron James buying the Cleveland Browns or say Oprah Winfrey buying the New Orleans Saints and stuff, then they are letting us in this fraternity. And that's what I think is going to happen, man. Because, hey, man, it's too much pressure. We're not just talking about pressure in this country. We're talking about global pressure, man. We're talking about global pressure. We're talking about all over the world, man. We are the laughing stock of the world. The greatest nation in the world has become a zero. And see, white people don't like that, especially rich white people who we talk about this flag that Betsy Ross made, and her husband was a slave owner. Francis Scott Key wrote the Star Spangled Banner, and he owned slaves. Hey, man, listen, we're not going back just 100 years. We're going back 401 years. And I'm telling you, you young people, get ready. Y'all going to benefit from what's going on now because, guys, listen, I've been a part of demonstrations. I've been a part of protests. I have never in my life seen anything like this.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. And so something's changing, guys. And so all we got to do is wait a while. The proof going to be in the pudding. If the bail is not real and stuff, trust me, there'll be more protests and more protests. And guess what, guys? It ain't gonna have to be us.
Yeah.
It's gonna be white people. Because they're gonna make these rich Republican white people stand up and say, hey, proof in the pudding. Let's hire some general managers, let's hire some head coaches. Let's let Oprah Winfrey or some of the billionaire, I think it's 4 black billionaires in the United States. My wife looked it up for the night. Watch what happens. Yes, thank Michael Jordan, Oprah, Jay-Z is in that group, and Johnson, the brother out of Arizona, who I think paid the tuition, the loans. Yeah, Morehouse, the students in Morehouse, the seniors, paid off the student loans.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, hey, Pete, you alluded to something earlier, man, that I just want to touch on really quickly. That the NBA got ahead of this, and they always do. The NBA players, they run that league. In the NFL, the players don't run the league at all, man. I'm talking about, NBA players, man. When a guy like Chris Paul, who we had here, man, you had to pay him $40 million, even though, he's on a wood leg and he limping, you know what I mean? And he's still going, but yet you had to pay him that because the NBA knows that they make all their money off the back of black players. And even Greg Popovich, I think probably the greatest coach in NBA history, he alluded to that as well. You know what I mean? That, we have made money off the backs of black players in this league. And I think that with this thing being augmented, as I said earlier, is that it's bringing real awareness. Not just hey, let's kneel for the flag, but it's bringing real awareness. So I want to tip off into something, man. Just not to go on a tangent, but something that's relatable or relative to what we were just talking about with Roger Godell, and that's Drew Brees' apology. Okay, last week we spoke on Drew Brees' statement. And, I told someone my grandfather was born in 1930. He was raised in East Texas. Okay. And he grew up in the height of the Jim Crow laws. He's a retired lieutenant colonel. Okay. Yet he feels as though it's disrespectful for players to kneel during the national anthem. That's how he feels. Okay. This is an old black man. Okay. That it was not uncommon for him to walk down the street and see a black man hanging from a tree. Nevertheless, he's patriotic. He fought for his country. He fought in the Korean War. He fought in the Vietnam War on the front lines. Everybody has the right to their own opinion. My problem I had with Drew, and I'm just, I'm bringing us back, is that now was not the time for that. So now that he's hurt so many individuals that it's caused this huge, I mean, colossal talk about all over the place. Now he feels the need that, okay, let me apologize. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that the most of it is PR, right? Because what he said was not nothing he's not said in the past. Okay. As a matter of fact, Drew Brees has kneeled during the anthem with the New Orleans Saints. Okay. So he felt how he felt. But the problem with that is somewhat of a paradox. If you're kneeling with your players, but you say you don't agree with disrespecting the flag, and the only way people say that the flag was being disrespected by players kneeling. So I would have to sit down and ask him what he really meant. But this apology, and Sam, I'm gonna start with you this time. This apology, do you think that it was sincere, and how do you feel about it?
I feel two ways about it. I don't think that he intended to be hurtful, right? But at the same time, you're apologizing, but you feel like that. He really
Yeah.
feels like that. So you shouldn't have apologized. What
Right.
I feel like he should have done was, when the man asked him the question, he should have said, listen, I've already talked about this. And right now, with the way that our country is divided, I don't want to answer no questions that would further cause division.
Right.
That was the right way to handle it in that moment. He didn't do that. So when you come back to try to clean it up, you don't apologize for saying what you said, because you meant that. You said it
Right.
more than once. That's what you meant. I don't like that he said, after they had their team meeting, that now he understands that it's not about the flag, it's not about patriotism, it's about, standing in solidarity against Black people being mistreated by law enforcement and the systematic oppression of African Americans. Now you understand all of these things, but you understood it already. You don't like people kneeling during the anthem. That's what you don't like. You did not understand it. You don't like it.
Yeah.
And that was not the moment to say that you don't like it. And now you're upset that your team is upset. And what I don't like about it, look, I veered, I'm sorry, but now your team is having a team meeting about it, right? You meeting because you're worried about Drew. But why didn't y'all have a meeting about how your Black players felt about kneeling back when it first started, back when Cap first started kneeling, back when Black people first started wanting to join the solidarity with Cap kneeling? Why are you waiting all this many years to have a team meeting to discuss it? You want to explain it to Drew. Drew
Yeah.
knew. So the apology, I don't think that it's insincere. He has done a lot of different things in New Orleans or whatever for the people in that community. But even that, when you do a thing like this, when you say a thing like he said, right, that to me is willful ignorance. And
Yeah.
then it makes me go back and say, well, why have you done those things?
Yeah.
Was it insincerity, right? Or
So
was
let
it
me
just part of the things that people do in those communities, right? I'm
let me
here,
ask you
so
a
let me
question
do good stuff.
before I go to you, P and Pop. So do you think that he should have done the apology regardless of whether it was sincere or some type of PR stunt?
I don't think he should have apologized for what he said. I
Hmm.
think he should have stood by his statements because they were his true feelings. He should have said, listen, I this is how I feel about kneeling. But I do understand that that is not what the kneeling is about. And even though my feelings are what they are, I stand in solidarity with my team members who choose to peacefully protest systematic oppression of Black people.
Yeah.
You're not apologizing for your beliefs, right? Nobody asked him to not believe what he believed. You're apologizing for misrepresenting a movement, because that's what he did when he said, "I don't like kneeling, it disrespects the flag." He misrepresented what the kneeling is about, and that is the problem with everybody who continues to disagree with the kneeling.
Right, right. So P, what about you, man? Do you think that Drew Brees' apology was sincere, or was it a PR stunt?
I think his apology was a good case of pressure busts his pipes. We all grown. We grown that he's a grown man. What he said at first, I believe he felt it. You know, I mean, as an adult, we're all adults. A lot of times when we say stuff at instant, especially when there's emotions and emotions behind and stuff like that, we mean it.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
not till later when, people may disagree with what we're saying that we start to really think about it. One thing Sam said that, we don't know is we don't know if they had a meeting about it back then when it first went down. I'm not sure. I didn't even know they had a meeting about it recently, because the locker room, a lot of stuff that goes on in the locker room, it stays in the locker room. And they might have had a meeting about that in the past and talked about it. Maybe he just wasn't hearing it. I think he shouldn't have apologized.
Sure.
He should have said, "Hey, I understand the timing is wrong," which that's another thing. I
Right.
don't believe the timing is wrong. I don't think at this moment we need to know where everybody stands in the line of grass and the
Okay.
saying, "Hey, you said it, you meant it. It was perfect. It was the perfect timing," because now we know. A lot of those players, now they know. So now they know how they can carry themselves in the locker room, around him, in the workouts, in the game,
Yeah.
around him, and know that, hey, this is how he stands. It's good to know where he stands, but it'd be even better if they have an open dialogue and they try to understand. And I think he should have explained why he felt that way instead of apologizing and allowing the pressure to bust his pipes.
Yeah. And do you think that will completely destroy the camaraderie that Drew Brees has with the other players in the locker room, P?
Oh, you coming to me? Okay.
I'm coming to you next though. I wanted to ask
Okay,
you
okay.
because he was talking about. Go ahead, P.
Okay.
Go
Do I
ahead.
feel as though the apology will help the team out further?
Not necessarily the apology, but because of what he said and the apology in addition to that, do you think even with the apology after what he said, the camaraderie will be completely destroyed?
Man, honestly, Rich, it's tough. It just depends on how their leader, Peyton, goes about it, how the team captains go about it. Because we had, in high school, our senior year, we had something like this had go down. And we had a meeting. There was some racial tensions going on on our team. And where we come from, it's 50% black, 50% white, and the rest is all in there. So we had some issues like that. At first, it really bombed our season. We went through a couple of weeks knowing that, hey, we don't mess with the white boys because of what they did to when we went to a party and vice versa. But see, a lot of people that went to our school, even people who graduated, they had no idea that went on.
Yeah.
And that's when my point about the locker room, we don't know what went on. I think at first it may have some issues, but man, them guys are getting paid. They're getting paid and they're doing something they love. At the end of the day, I think once they walk out of that locker room and step on that field, they leave everything at the door and go and play ball.
Okay, we're gonna find out. Pop, what you got on this?
Okay.
You waiting? You
Oh
been
yeah,
chopped
man.
over there.
Hey,
Go ahead.
yeah. Listen, man. I'm from Louisiana, okay, and I can go way, way, way back. There were some brothers called the Long Brothers. Okay, look it up. Earl K. These guys ran Louisiana, man, and they were some crooks. But you know what they did? They took care of the African American community, man. They were some of the biggest thugs in the world, man. But they ran Louisiana because they took care of the African American community. And we voted. Straight ticket. If it was a long name on the ballot, done deal.
Yeah.
Okay. As a matter of fact, one of them got assassinated on the floor of the Capitol in Louisiana. Now stay with me, okay?
All right.
Right now, before Drew Brees made that statement, and Drew Brees meant what he said, okay? Drew Brees was Mr. Louisiana. Couldn't do no wrong, guys. If you wanted to run for mayor of New Orleans, if you wanted to run for governor of the state, listen, man, this guy has won a Super Bowl. He won a Super Bowl for Louisiana. People in Louisiana are the most loyal people on this earth. Trust me. But if you turn on them, let me tell you, man, you in trouble, dog. So Drew and his base knew that, hey, you turned on the state. I heard Don Lemon say on CNN the other night that his mom, when she get in from church, she put on her number 9 and said, let's go, Breezy, let's go, Breezy. Guess what? Don Lemon's mother said she would never, ever put that jersey. He got some troubleshooting to do, man. His wife, I was reading the New York Post, and she was saying, hey, it's not their fault. It's our fault. See, because he's lost that love, man. You know what I'm saying? The people in Louisiana, he done lost that love and feeling, man, and he want to get that back. Yeah. We're talking about a guy that gave $5 million to COVID. I think he and his wife gave $2 million or $3 million to Katrina. They love him. He could do no wrong. And he realized that, hey, man, you going down like the other clowns in this state, okay? DeBartola and people like that. You're not gonna end up like the Long Boys. The Long Boys are still revered in the state of Louisiana. They're still revered. Sort of like the Kennedy boys are around the country. You go to your grandmother's houses and your great grandmothers and see a picture of Robert Kennedy, John Kennedy, and Martin Luther King. Okay, that's the way the Long Boys were revered in Louisiana. So the answer is no. Drew Brees meant what he said, but Drew Brees realized that if he gonna ever get to that status, and I don't know what he wants, I know he wants to get in broadcasting. Trust me, CBS or ESPN or somebody calls, hey Drew, hey, you just went way down to this, baby. You would, you talking about you want to be like Manning, okay, and the ex-quarterback for the Cowboys. That ain't happening, baby. That's not happening. So yes, Drew Brees meant what he said, but hey, trust me, they got him now. They got him now. You gonna see him be a changed man, even if it's not in his heart. You gonna be. Hey, you talking about $5 million? He may give $10 million. Okay, to Southern University. $100 million to Grambling State University. You know what I'm saying? Because he knows that if he can get that black community back on his side, he got it. I
think he will, Pop. Honestly, me personally, I think that yes, what he did was asinine, okay? But I do think that you have players like Michael Thomas who quickly spoke up on it and quickly was able to forgive him and say, look, man, this is my brother. I did not like what he said. He apologized. It was sincere. I accept his apology. We're going to move forward. And, before I go into what I'm going to say, Sam, if you can join us for one more segment, I would love that. I think this is something that that would touch you, something that you would like to elaborate on. What I'm going to bring up next. Go ahead, P.
Winning can disguise a lot of issues, man.
Oh yes, sir.
No doubt.
Yes, sir.
Can disguise. I got this ring because I coach a private school in high school, and this is our second year with my whole unit, defensive unit, because they came from my minor pro team, and we went to this high school. And the first year, because those parents weren't used to that. A lot of those kids first time playing football, they did not like us because of our approach, our tone, and because, and we had a private school. We had a rough year last year. This year, we still had we came in with the same attitude, same tone, but we were winning. We went 10-1-1. And I kept telling the coaches, I said, you're surprised what winning can disguise, man.
No doubt.
We have all these issues going on with parents, players in the locker room, front out athletic department staff. But when you're winning, everything's swept under the rug, man, and everybody's having a good time. Absolutely. If they start losing, if they go 0-4, 2-7, it starts getting like that, oh, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. Yeah. People are going to start losing their jobs. People are going to start getting benched. Jameis Winston in the background going to be ready to roll. He's going to be ready to go. It was something else.
They'll give them 16 games, though. They're 2-7. You can turn that around. But if they don't make the playoffs, then we probably looking at Jameis Winston as a starting quarterback next year.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Drew Brees signed that contract already anyway for
don't matter,
CBS, was it?
Don't
he
matter,
gone
Rich.
Anyway after this year.
Yeah.
But grown men cried. I'm gonna say this: a lot of grown black people cried when he came out with the diehard Saints fans. They cried.
Yeah.
You know,
He
Yeah.
so
he didn't need to do it. He didn't need to do it. That's why it was so hurtful. He had already said how he felt about it. He didn't need to do it. He allowed himself to be baited, and that I mean that's a it's not quite a character flaw, but I mean it's a judgment flaw for sure. And I mean it just he should not have even responded.
here's what I want to say to that, Sam. In college, these as players, when you're in college, you have
Yeah,
people that help you with PR and
yeah,
talking to the media. And in the
yeah,
NFL, I mean, he's a vet. He's at the tail end of his career, so he
yeah.
knew. He knew.
That's what I'm saying. That's what
Yeah.
He
I'm
knew.
saying.
He was
He
trying to
That's
make
knew.
a
what
statement.
Yeah.
I think he thought that the city would roll with him. I
Hmm.
think that he thought that all of the things that he had done years past for the city, for blacks, would have held him down to say this. And because it didn't go bad the first time he said it,
Right.
Yeah.
right? He felt like he could double down, he could say it again. And that's my concern with the statement to begin with, and that was my concern with the apology. I don't
Yeah.
feel like you're one of these brand new rappers who ain't got no PR person,
Yeah.
ain't got no artist development, don't have nobody showing you the ropes. You've been in the game for a long time, and you
Right.
a sweetheart in the NFL. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? People love him. People love him. So he thought that he could get away with it. He said what he said, and the apology he shouldn't have made it, and he
Yeah.
should
And I'm gonna say this,
go
man.
ahead.
I said this, on Thursday, man. But shout out to my partner D boy, DeWarren Jackson. He said something, man, that tickled me, man. He said, man, Drew Brees, you was invited to the barbecue for a lifetime, but now we gotta send your wife home with the plate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's what he said, man, and had me laughing because I'm like, man, bro,
that's
that's
crazy too, though. She can't come. How she coming?
man, look,
You
because they
married to
look
him, y'all.
because just what
That
we talked
family.
She
about.
can't
They
come.
love
That
that family.
family,
That family
man.
does so much in the community in
Yeah.
New Orleans. And when you think about the magnitude of the Super Bowl that the Saints
Yeah,
won right
At
after
that time.
Katrina, okay,
Yeah.
like it was huge. It was just as huge as the
100%.
Astros winning the World Series in 2017, right after we had
Mm-hmm.
Hurricane Harvey.
No, Rich. No,
Right.
no, no, no. I gotta stop you. No, sir.
Man, that
No,
shit
no, sir.
was
Rich.
way
That was
big.
that was the biggest thing. That was the biggest event in the state of Louisiana, in the history of the state.
Right.
I'm serious, man. That was bigger than Joan of Arc getting burned, okay, at the stake.
Oh wow.
Shut
Okay.
Yeah,
up.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I hear you.
That was the biggest
I
event.
mean, I'm just saying,
I'm telling
my
you.
point is that the
It was a big
magnitude of
thing.
that, and that's why the family is loved, and that's why I think eventually, yes, a lot of people are hurt by this, but it will go away, like P alluded to, when they start winning, and they will. Okay, they will. They're going to win the division in the NFC South again. Then these things will start to taper off and eventually go away. And so there's something, that's relative to that I want to get straight off into right now. But our coach, okay, here for the Houston Texans, Bill O'Brien, he spoke fervently about this issue, and whether or not he was a guy that said, hey, we got to get out ahead of these issues. I'm gonna be the first one to say something. Part of me feels like there was some sincerity attached to that because of how he dealt with the guy from Alaska who basically said that black quarterbacks are incompetent, and he was talking about Deshaun Watson. And Bill O'Brien took great umbrage with that, and he spoke on it. But he came out, man, and he really, really, Pop, you alluded to something earlier that this don't start like 40 or 50 years ago. This starts 401 years ago.
Correct.
Okay, and Bill O'Brien brought that up. This not just about segregation and Jim Crow laws. This is about slavery. We enslaved black people. That's what he said, man. You know what I mean? So my question to all of y'all, and Pop, I want to start with you. You the vet, man. You know what I mean? You grew up in a small town in northern Louisiana, man, where one side of the track was black and the other side was white, man. So
Absolutely.
I'm gonna start this question with you, okay? The question is, should white coaches speak on these issues as far as what's going on? Not just with George Floyd, but just the oppression and of black people and racial tension and racial insensitivity and just opportunities that are not really given in the NFL and, for that matter, most sports that we watch today.
Yes, but they should do something before they speak out.
Okay.
They need to listen.
Yeah.
James Richard Wilson III can give them some experiences, dog. You know what I'm saying? I can tell them a few things about what has happened in this country. I can only do 66 years, but trust me, in those 66 years, man, I have seen a whole lot of things happen. So for those young coaches that still green around the ears, they need to listen. Like what did O'Brien? Who he said listen to first? Romeo Cornell.
Yeah.
Okay. He's got about 70, 75 years of experience, of knowledge, of wisdom. So before they speak out, they need to get some wisdom. They need to learn what has happened to African American people. Because hey man, let's face it. If it was not for this thing getting filmed with Floyd, we wouldn't be in an uproar. If nobody would have never saw it and stuff, we wouldn't be in an uproar. It's being filmed now, man. It's being filmed. I'm a classroom teacher. Trust me, man. Before I say anything, before I do anything, man, you know what I'm saying? I look around.
Yeah.
And say it quick. Because guess what? If it's long and drawn out, them cameras coming out, baby. They coming out. And so it's just like I was telling you, Rich, about the incident with the baseball game and stuff. And I didn't Sam, you and PJ, I didn't tell you all about this, and I'll be very brief. We were at a baseball game one night. I was about 7 or 8 years old, and the blacks weren't allowed to sit down. Okay, we had to stand up. The whites got a chance to sit down. So there was these couple of white girls that came to the concession stand. They had on booty shorts. Okay, and so we all turned. I'm like, and so this one particular guy named Scott. Police saw him, they grabbed him, they drug him down in this little ravine. And we all went, guys. It must have been about 200 or 300 of us. We went to see what was going on. And they beat him crazy. Billy clubs and fists and everything else. Hey, guys, that's not going to happen today. You know what? Somebody would have died before those cops would have beat him like that, okay? So what I'm saying is, and guys, nothing ever happened to these cops. Okay, they were perfectly in their rights and stuff, because at that time, growing up, we couldn't look at white girls like Rich said. We had to get back across that track when the sun went down.
Yeah.
That's not happening today. That's not happening today. Guess what? Somebody filming that.
Yeah.
Somebody not gonna let that happen. So that's my take on that, man. That yes, eventually white coaches should say something. Yeah. But if it's not like what Bill O'Brien did, keep your mouth closed and listen.
All right, P, what you got on this, man?
If we speak out and they don't listen to us, then maybe they'll listen to their own kind. And I think more coaches need to come out and say something, because if you don't say something, I'm going to find, if I'm a player and I'm busting my butt for you to keep your job and to, fill the stands up, I'm going to find it disrespectful that this stuff is going on and you're just acting like you're just turning a blind eye to it. So I think, and I agree with Big Rich. If you're going to say something, one, mean it and do your research, but have some action behind that, preferably before you say something. So that way you can kind of, but I mean, if somebody says, oh, well, I just fed 100 black people the other day, I'm here for the cause, and people going to be like, well, you do it if you don't, you damned if you do type deal. But if they stay silent, bro, I think a lot of the players will find it just disrespectful. As far as Bill O'Brien, I will say this: people need to take away the things that he's done as a general manager and the things that separate the two, because a lot of people, and I'm not even a Texas fan, but a lot of people will hear what he says and be like, oh, he's just trying to make up for, getting rid of D-Hop and stuff like that, so they can't take it serious. So I'll tell people that listen to that man and listen to his word, and don't let his actions cloud or what he's doing at his job to what he's trying to say as a human. You know what I'm saying? So right. I definitely believe, because you got to be leader of men. And if your leader ain't speaking out on him, then what are you going to think? He's a coward. And I'm doing all this for a coward? Nah, trade me, release me. When my contract's up, I'm gone. Yeah. So I think they need to speak out. And when they speak out, they need to mean it and not let it just be a trend. It's something that I'm just going to say just to get off my plate, to be like, oh, okay, whew.
Yeah, because the players will know if you mean it. The players will know, and that's what's important. It ain't about the media. if the players
Right.
know that he's sincere, then they're gonna be able to, run through a brick wall for him. So, Sammy, what you got on this?
Um, I'm just reiterating, I think, what everybody else has said. I think that they have a responsibility
Mm-hmm.
to say something if you expect these men to play for you. But I think before you open your mouth, you do have to have a good awareness of what the systemic oppression is, right? It's not just about George Floyd. He was the catalyst, but to really affect change, to really connect, right, with his players, with their players, they do have to have an awareness
Right.
about what's going on, and to understand where they're coming from, and to really be a support and offer that leadership for the players. And then it can't just be lip service. It does have to be action attached to the words. And I do think that in all of these situations, everybody who has made a statement, right? All the people we've talked about, from the commissioner, to Drew Brees, to the rest of these different coaches, fine with your statement, but now what are you prepared to do? Because if you're making these statements, but if you don't do anything to solidify what you said, then what you said has no power.
Right. It's futile. And Sammy, we want to thank you for coming on here with us, man, and confabulating with us and conversing
Sure.
with us on these matters, man. You were awesome, man. I appreciate you. Definitely got to get you in, in the future, or drag you in, because I drug her in here, y'all.
All right, all
I
right.
drug her in here, man.
No.
But I appreciate you, Sammy, for coming on, man. And I'll see you later.
All right. Bye. Thank you
All right.
Good
guys.
Thank you
seeing
so
you
much.
again, Sam.
You too. You too. Thank you.
Yeah, man. So, yeah, man. Again, man, Sammy, you're not on here, but man, I appreciate you, man, again, for coming on here, man. Doing your thing, and you were awesome, man. I love to hear things like things of this matter come from the mouth of women, especially in these particular situations that we're dealing with here of late, coming from an African American woman or a woman that's black. So, man, we've been talking about something real, just kind of sad, man. Some things morbid, man. But yeah, I want to get to something, man, that that's kind of on the opposition of what we've been talking about. And first of all, man, look, man, Kevin Durant, dog, this dude, I don't understand. And I guess part of me is like, dude, you're like 6'10", bro. Like, why are you so sensitive? You are in the NBA, okay? You have to deal with the press day in and day out. At some point in time, you should have, gotten thick skin. But what has happened here of late, with the season being able to start, because we know that the top 22 teams in the NBA will be starting here soon. If everything, right now it's tentative, but when everything gets ratified, we will have basketball here at professional sports level. But Kevin Durant, man, and I'm not the one that posed this question. My pop posed this question. He said, Kevin Durant, when you gonna grow a pair? So, Pop, since you posed the question, man, I want you to speak on this, man. When do you think he will grow a pair?
Well, Rich, let me just verify what I'm saying. And I'm not even a Kevin Durant fan, okay? I am a LeBron James fan, true and true, okay? But we're talking about you playing in New Jersey, okay?
Right.
A very depressed state. Last I looked, they were right behind New York in the number of COVID cases and in the number of COVID deaths, okay? And again, I harken back to what I said about New Orleans winning the Super Bowl. We're talking about a city that was down, guys. We're talking about depressed as hell,
Mm-hmm.
man. I'm talking about 2,200 people that had lost their lives and stuff. Most of the people had lost all of their property. And when the Saints won that Super Bowl, man, this is if Jesus had come back, man. I'm serious, man. And so,
Yeah.
Kevin Durant, this is what I'm saying to you, man. You have got to have a special situation every time you play. You played with Westbrook, that wasn't good enough. Okay, you went and played with Splash Brothers, that wasn't good enough. Listen, man, you're not gonna always have a perfect situation, man. I remember Rod Wilson when the only time that Rod Wilson went to a Super Bowl with the Steelers was he tore his knee up in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
And came back and played in the Super Bowl. Kevin Durant, you let a city that Willis Reed tore his Achilles up, guy. It came back and
Oh, Willis Reed, yeah.
yeah, look that story out, man. Look, and they still talk about that.
Yeah.
He didn't score but 2 points or 5 points, guys. But they say he was the inspiration behind the Knicks winning the championship. You're talking about a city, a community of people of New York, New Jersey that starved, man. You've been off almost a year and a half. Come on, dog. What do you want? You waiting on Bradley Beal to come play for you next year? Listen, man, get a set. Hey. I mean, I'm serious, man. I can remember. I'm gonna tell this story. I'm gonna get off. My 9th grade year of high school football, the second week of practice, I broke my collarbone. Okay, and I went home and I was crying and stuff, and my mama said, "Baby, what's wrong?" I said, "Mom, I broke my collarbone." I said, "I'm not gonna be able to play." She said, "Well, why do you say that?" I said, "Mom," I said, "that's usually, I'm usually done for the season." And so she said, "Okay, we're gonna take you to the doctor tomorrow." Well, they didn't have the doctors in Jonesboro. I had to go to Monroe. Okay, yeah. but long story short, guys, Miss Thelma got on her face to the Lord. She got on her face to the Lord. In 2 weeks, man, I was back for the first game, man. The doctor said the bone had grown back double, man. But hey, I'm giving God this credit. But man, I wanted to play so bad, man. I wasn't gonna sit out the season, man. I was a starter as a freshman, as a 9th grade on varsity, man. So come on, man. I mean, come on, KD. Come on, baby. The world want to see you, man. And here you are. Well, I'm gonna wait till next year. I'm cool, guys. Go ahead.
Yeah, P, what you got on this, man?
Man, and this ain't gonna be a very PC approach, but hey, man, he was raised by a single mama from the 90s on up. He didn't have a male figure involved in this house to really push him and let him know, like, hey, you got to fight through everything. We've all played sports at a high level. We've all had injuries, and we've all been through it. I think KD, he time and time again, he has showed, like, man, this dude was raised by a single mama with his actions on what, if I can't win it, I'm going to either go join him. If I'm not healthy, I'm not going to play. But I really think that a lot of those guys, and maybe he even is probably looking at this season as a wash altogether. Like, hey, I'm not going to get out there and sacrifice my body just coming back for 22 games. Are they even in the season right now for the playoffs?
Yes, they are. That was the confusion, Pete. Because,
that was confusion, right?
Yeah, Kyrie is healthy,
right?
Okay, and if you come back, man, y'all can make a run.
I'm telling you, man.
Y'all can make a run, man. And so Pete, I get it, bro, and I get. Hey, man, if you don't want to play, you don't have to play.
Right.
Okay. But to me, man, you got to have some substance, right? What did Damian Lillard say, right? I'm not playing if I ain't playing for something.
Right.
Okay. Now, I could make the argument and say, okay, well, bro, this is your team. But what did he back door and say behind that? He said, look, I'm going to travel with the team. I'll be there on courtside, but I'm not playing. You know what I mean? So he was saying, okay, look, yeah, I'm going to go. I'm going to be with my teammates because I'm a good teammate, but I'm not going to risk getting an injury and we're not playing for anything. Okay. I can kind of respect that. You know what I mean? I can kind of respect it because you want to play for something when you, especially in this unprecedented time. But when you have this, when you have an opportunity, if you're healthy, right? If you have a clean bill of health as a player and you have the opportunity to get in there, man, and try to get a ring, especially for your new team, I'm sure he has his reasons on a superficial level. All I know is that I see a healthy guy. You have an opportunity to get a ring, and I can't fathom why you would not want to get on the court for whatever personal reasons he may have. I don't know. That's my take on it from what I see. You know what I mean? If I had a personal conversation with him, and maybe I could understand better, but on the surface level, that's what I see.
Well, here's the thing, man. What was I gonna say? He needs to, though it really was a curse, this COVID and the outbreak and everything. But in the sense of Kevin Durant, he needs to look at this time off as a blessing to have allowed him to get healthy, to come right back in the season. And that's how I'm looking at it. It's like, dude, the league went on pause to allow you and a lot of other players, but mainly you to get healthy.
Right.
And here's an opportunity that's not going to put a lot of wear and tear on you because we're talking about what, 22 games to the playoffs?
No,
no. It's
no.
8 games.
8
8 games, and
Eight
then they go
games.
straight
to the
over to
playoffs. So,
Yeah.
so he needs to be. If I'm in this circle, I'm telling dude, this was a blessing for you to get healthy, to come right in. You're gonna be probably one of the freshest bodies, on the court. And if the season would have resumed, yeah, totally understand. But man, we took almost a 2.5 month pause, the entire world, and you're able to get healthy, and you're able to go in there and make a easy run.
P, look at JJ Watt last year. Okay, this guy said, "Hey man, I'll be back for the playoffs." I mean, ain't no way this guy gonna make it back, man. The guy bust his butt, man, and grinded out and got back in there. No, he wasn't the same, but just the fact that he stepped on the field for him and stuff, man.
Right.
And did he get a sack in the Buffalo game? Only sack?
He did get a sack. He did. Yes, he did. He did get a sack. And I mean, so yeah, like you said, P, I agree about some cats, they was raised by women, you know what I mean? But at some point you learn, right? I was raised, by a woman, okay, in a single home. Now, my dad, obviously, he's here. You can see him right there, okay? But they lived in separate homes, okay? And I lived with my mother. So I was around her the majority of the time. So, I can't, I'm not going to put myself right in his shoes, okay? I'm not going to do that. Go ahead now.
Hold up. Though Papa Rich wasn't there, you still had my father.
Right.
You had Waddy's father.
Right.
Craig. You had some male figures in your life, regardless if you didn't listen or not. You had people there, like a village, to kind of be like, yo, boom, boom, boom.
So can we say Durant didn't have any? Can we say we didn't have any at all? You know what I mean?
My thing is dealing with kids now, and even looking at some of my friends, I feel as a single mother. Hey, I'm tired, mama. I don't want to go to practice. Okay, baby, stay home and then relax. Instead of, hey, I'm tired. No, and I'm not saying this is all, because and notice I picked a certain era, because there was a lot of single parents single parent mothers that raised some great men, even in this time. But I'm saying dealing with kids now at different levels, I really noticed that they kind of pampered and pacified more, to the extent that if a male role model, I'm not just gonna say a father, you really need your father, but a male role model to be there to push you a little harder. There's a lot of stuff that I guarantee you would not have done if Mr. Waddy or somebody be like, y'all bring your butt over here, it's time to work out, we gonna get this in and get y'all prepared for the season. We could have just sat there and made jackass movies all day long and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true, man. But I think when you get off into that type of industry, you learn a lot of things on the go real quick, okay? Especially when you're a star player like Kevin Durant. We're not talking about some middle of the pack player. We talking about a A-lister, okay? And you learn some things, right? You learn some things. And part of what he learned, P, though, was, hey, look, I want to make sure that I stay out the whole time I was going to stay out, because I don't want to take the chances of getting hurt. Okay. Right. And I can understand that. But at the same time, if it was me, I'm trying to put myself in his shoes. But because I'm a different person, because I'm J.R. Wilson, I'm not Kevin Durant. In my mind, I'm like, okay, look, I've had 3 months to get right. Okay. I had a whole last season to get right or whatever. You know what I mean? And so now I'm like, okay, we got a chance to run for the championship, for the ring, on a new team in a new city. Okay. Brooklyn doesn't have any rings. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to get in there. I'm gonna see how I feel first, right? Because he should know at this point in time how he feels, because he's been shooting around, he's been playing pickup games. You know what I mean? He should know how he feels. And so if maybe he does not feel comfortable with doing it, and I could understand it, but if I'm putting myself in his shoes, I'm saying, hey man, I'm gonna find a way to play, man, because look, I believe that I'm well off enough. I have the wherewithal to get out there and do what I need to do on the court to help my team possibly win a championship, especially knowing that there's only 9 teams coming out of the East, and you got a real good shot at taking them cats down. So,
right.
you know,
At least 8 minutes a game, 12 minutes a game, something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, man. Like,
right.
and,
So,
and I know it sounds cliche, but man, people would kill right now to be in his shoes.
They would
You know what
kill,
I'm saying?
man.
And to just throw it off, like you literally had a full season. If the season would have resumed, you had a full season. July 31st is really the time when they all start training to get ready for October. You
right.
know what I'm saying? So
Precisely.
he had a complete full season, and it's just a shame. It's just a shame because
yeah. So
it's
I
a
mean,
shame.
I want to go and let's pop. You got something else on that, man?
No, I'm good, man.
Okay, I want to segue back into the NFL, man. This is kind of dear to my heart, man, and I'm gonna be brief on it. I'm gonna let y'all speak on it, man, and then we gonna back up and we gonna get up out of here. But yeah, man, Bill O'Brien did something, man, that I vehemently disagree with last year by getting rid of Jadeveon Clowney, man. I still kind of hurt in my heart from losing, a player like that, especially a guy that we got in the first round, the number 1 overall pick. People could argue and say, hey, oh, well, he only had 3 sacks last year and, he's still getting hurt. I don't care, man. When you have a guy that's that disruptive, people don't really understand.
Mm-hmm.
I was a defensive lineman, okay? If you have a guy, okay, you might have one guy that gets 15 sacks a year. But if you have another guy that only gets like 5 or 6, but man, he's in the backfield every play, it's opening it up for you who gets the 15 sacks. It's opening it up for all the other defensive linemen. And it's opening up for the linebackers, man. And it just, that the D line and the D backs, they work hand in hand. Okay, there's a marriage there. And when you have a guy like that, look like we lost P Pop, but when you have when you have a guy like that, you let him go for pennies on the dollar. It's difficult, man. But right now, Clowney doesn't have a home, Pop. And I'm curious as to know where you think that he will land in this upcoming season.
I hate Sam is off because I would love to hear for her to hear my answer. Billy O, listen to me. If you want to back your words, dog, if you want to shake up the world, go out there and sign JD to a 2-year contract, dog. And I'm telling you, you're talking about the people in this community being back in love. We talking about love you blue kind of in love. Yeah, right. Okay. Go out there and get JD a 2-year, $32 million contract with 20 of them guaranteed. And you see how this city hey, they would serenade you all the way to the Super Bowl, dog. That's my answer, Rich.
Yeah. No, I think that Clowney is gonna land in 1 or 3 spots. Okay. Now this first one is gonna blow your mind a little bit. I think he's gonna come on back home to Houston. People can say, oh, well, we don't have what for him. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We had the money for him. Right. We got rid of Tayshaun Gibson. We didn't get anybody to replace him.
Right.
We redid, what's his name? Zach, our guard, our starting guard.
Right.
We redid his contract. So we have that money left in there. We can offer him a 1-year deal for about $11 million. And I think he'll come on back home to Houston. Right. Okay. And he'll propel himself here and get an opportunity to go somewhere else different. Okay. Right. That's one of the places that I think that he will go. Also, I think that he'll possibly go to Cleveland, the Cleveland Browns. Okay. Right. I definitely think that Cleveland, man, all that talent that they have over there, they know it's just a matter of, getting into a position, with their offense to make a run, man. All the talent that Cleveland has.
My bad, man.
We got feedback. No, it's all good. It's all good, man. We in this thing. Okay. So the thing about Cleveland is that, they just, they kind of like, when you start the engine, but it is cranking, but it won't turn over. Okay. It won't ignite. Okay. And when you turn the engine on, it ignites, it explodes. Okay. In order for it to turn over. And that's what Cleveland is. They got so much talent on that team. And that's why I think Clowney is going to ultimately end up. And there's another team that I think he'll end up with, and that's the Seahawks. Now, I know they said they out on him right now. They out on him because they want their price to lower, because they know all those, people that are not, he's not highly touted and coveted as he once was at the beginning of everyone knowing that he was going to be free. So they want to get a lower price on him. You know, they just added some pieces to their puzzle over there in Seattle. And so those three places, one of those three places, I think he'll come. First place I said was the Houston Texans. Okay, I think he'll come on back home 1 year, $11 million. I believe, if I remember correctly, P, you a Panthers fan. And there's a possibility, man, that he can go to Carolina, you know, and really show up that D line over there. You know what I mean? You lost Cam Newton, bro. You know, and you know what, bro? I actually want to touch on that a little bit after you your take on what Clown is gonna land at, man, because I would imagine, man, you hurt, and so we'll get to that in just a second. But P, what Clown is gonna land, man, this season?
The defensive end, like you said, because we played that, and I expressed this for years. On the defensive side of the ball, a defensive end can change the game. He can manipulate the game. He can dictate the game. I would like to see him stay in Seattle. I'm not really a Houston fan, but I support it because it's the home team. I wouldn't mind to see him come back home. I met him a couple of times out here. He loves Houston. He loves Houston, man. You know, this was his home, and it caught him by surprise. So I think if it'd be great PR for Bill O.B. to go back and get him, especially what he did. Carolina, that'll be great. But, man, I would like to see him in Arizona. Go to Arizona, man. Go to Arizona and put on the show and you know, help Kyler Murray out, because I'm a Kyler Murray fan, man, and I think that's why when they got rid of D-Hop, I was like, man, he's the city, but I'm like, he's going to help a young brother out right now that really needs it. And on the defensive side, if he was to go over there, because he already knows what a lot of the teams in that division does because he played in that, Arizona would be a great spot. If they got enough money and they really want to make something happen, Chicago Bears would be another great spot for him to land.
Oh, man, teaming him up with Khalil Mack, man.
And if we on the opposite side, y'all go at the Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford, and Kirk Cousins, and you try to make something happen. You put a piece like that on your team, then that can mask a lot of the disadvantages you have with Trubisky at quarterback. So those are my two. Well, you know, out of the four, I think he might end up going back to Seattle.
Okay, and look, Pete,
Arizona would be great. Chicago would be beastly, but I definitely wouldn't mind going back home to Houston.
P, you spoke on something earlier, man. You talked about Kyler Murray, and one thing Kyler Murray is he is a young black quarterback, okay, and he's propelling and doing well. But there's another who I still consider a young black quarterback, named Cam Newton, bro, and who y'all lost in Carolina, bro. And I was hurt by it, okay, because you know he's been the face of that franchise, man, for several years now, man, and now they've decided to go in a different direction with another young black quarterback. But how do you feel about that? How do you feel about the transition with the new quarterback that you guys have from New Orleans and Cam Newton leaving?
To be honest with you, look, one, I didn't like the way they got rid of Cam Newton. I didn't like the way they lied to him. And, you know, it's a business, but it's tough, man, to get rid of somebody who's been, you know, injured for the last couple of years.
Right.
He was the face. I've been a Panthers fan before he came there, though, but he was the face. He brought that swag. He brought that energy. He just brought a different element to the game. And to see how the way they went about it, especially when Matt Roll and the new GM came and they was like, yo, he's our guy. We're going to go into the season with that. Right. To get rid of him, it hurt. The way they got rid of him, it hurt because it didn't allow him enough time and the opportunity to shop the market. And he could have landed in a couple of places before the draft or even before, you know, free agency ended. So it really just – the Carolina Panthers management altogether, it really turned me away from being a fan. Moving forward, and now I'm just a gambler now. I'm just betting.
It's all right. Come on back home, P. It's always a spot for you on Houston soil, bro.
Always front office management. I just totally disagreed it, but at the end of the day, I do got love for them. I really wanted Cam Newton. And I think it would have been a perfect spot as far as the environment, the community, the offensive system and schemes that they like to run. And I think he would have definitely brought that swagger. He should have went to the Chicago Bears too.
Oh yeah, no
With
doubt.
that RPO game that they like to run, he fit perfectly in there. He would have brought that swag, and somebody like Cam Newton, you bring somebody like that into the Chicago community, especially on the South Side where there's a lot of young brothers. Instantly, he would have had a great impact in that community, and I think he could have really helped out just the city of Chicago and the black community in Chicago overall. So I think Chicago would have been a perfect spot for him to land. At this point, I just hope he get a job, man, because the way they doing him, it's wrong. But I mean, maybe they the experts, bro. So they might know something. You know, they might in his medical history, they might see something that's kind of turning him away. But I'm definitely disappointed in the way the Carolina Panthers went about all that.
Yeah, I was shocked by that, man. I'm sorry to hear about that. Hopefully, Teddy Bridgewater, man, bring forth fruit there in Carolina. Pop, you got something on this?
No. I just kind of want to segue a little bit off of PJ. I think it's going to be tough for him to get a job unless, and this probably is going to happen. Aaron Rodgers or Ben Roethlisberger, Drew Brees, probably going to go down, early on and stuff, and you'll see him sign with a team like that.
Okay, well, look, P, man. Hey, we thank you so much, man, for joining us today, bro. You've been great, man.
Been
you
great.
Know what I'm saying? It's been good to catch up with you too. You know what I'm saying? And talk ball. You know what I mean? I love talking ball, man. That's why we do this. That's why this is the solid grip, because we got a solid grip, man, on our expert analysis on our sports. You know what I mean? And so, man, we thank you, man, for all y'all that tuned in. We thank you. Like, share, comment, subscribe to our channel. You know, go catch us on Instagram, The Solid Grip, Twitter, solid_grip. Okay, go check us out. P, you got something? What's up?
Can I share a funny story? So
yeah, go ahead.
The viewers. So, 10th grade, and I do this to this day. 10th grade, Papa Rich came to pick me and you up from school. We driving in Mo City. We get pulled over. Papa Rich is giving his information to the cop, and he looks over to me. Y'all smell bacon? I swear I smell bacon. I didn't get it at first, but as I got older, I was like, hey, that was some cold stuff right there.
Oh, man. I don't know if the police got that one. You know what I'm saying?
I was in the car like, damn, I don't smell no food at all.
Yeah. But no, man, hey P, man, that was a good story, man. Yeah, I hadn't heard about that in a minute, man. But again, man, we thank you, man. We gonna get out of here. For everybody that tuned in, like I said, like, share, comment, subscribe. Please share it with everyone. We thank you. For me, J.R. Wilson, along with me, Peen Wilson, and our guest star today, the coach PJ Strong. We thank y'all. This is The Solid Grip. We signing off. Y'all take care.
God bless everybody.